So I want to do a quick explanation of a download information that I receive, just because it's going to be important for us to know this. So when you really put the training program into perspective, you can see that all the information might not apply to you. The information might change over time. So what you understand now might change, evolve as you go through the program. This is the what you will call the torus. The torus is a sacred geometry. It's a sacred geometry symbol. The way that they show me this is that we receive information through here. This is the tree of life inside, and because we are in this vortex, it's almost like a Merkaba. You can call it a Merkaba too. It's energy that is within us constantly. So we have our own torus that is around us, that creates and protects our aura. This energy, when we receive the downloads, it comes through here. So it comes through here, and then we are our own tree of life. So we filter that information through our filter of consciousness. So the information that you will be picking up from the course will depend on your level of consciousness. Just like when you see a movie, or you listen to a course, or you're talking to someone, you are picking up the information from your own consciousness. Most of the time, it's not really what they're saying, it's how you're filtering the information that makes sense to you. And that information might change later. That's why when you go into an argument, you hear one thing because you're angry. But when you calm down, then things start changing perspective. Then you're like, oh, maybe, because you are now cooler enough to be able to process the information in a better way. You went through the experience, so you know how it feels. So now that you learned the experience, now you can pull the information, flip it around in order for you to get a different perspective. So when we receive the information, it gets filtered. So it's almost like you get the, let's say this is the information here, it comes down to you, and you filter that information before you use it. So when you filter that information here, it is with your mind and heart that you filter that information. That's why the mind and the heart has to be in coherence, because otherwise you don't really grasp all of the concepts. If you don't grasp all of the concepts, you're going to have a hard time integrating the information. This is important because the tree of life, even in ancient Sumerian, Egyptian, the African pantheon, the Celtics, the Hindus, in like what we know as the verdict test, any of those, even the Native Americans know that the trees hold a lot of knowledge. There is a sacredness to trees, and specifically some trees, where even trees like the ceiba, the oak, you have trees that are masters at what they do. They hold so much knowledge that, and people most of the time don't know that this tree hold all this knowledge. That's why when you do a rogación, a cleansing with the bath of a specific roots and herbs and leaves, it can really work wonders, because you're working with the energy of the spirit of those trees. They hold a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge. So why was I saying that? Because inside of us, we have the tree. We are the tree. And the ancient people knew that in order for people, and essentially throughout the years, only the information was kept for those that were willing to pay attention, because you will see that only the knowledge was passed eventually through oral practices. That's why we have a lot of oral traditions where a lot of occult information is given, because it had to be done that way, because the knowledge was being taken away from people. But why is this important? Because the tree holds the sacred to wisdom and other gateways. So when you connect to the energy of the tree, you essentially connecting to the energy of yourself and really going in. It is a gateway to the inside of you, to your heart. So when you work with the energy of the tree, you're working with yourself and you're working to go in into your heart. That is the gateway. That's what a lot of people don't understand. Yes, the sacred medicine will help us see and understand that. But if you understand that, you already know that in order for you to access the other dimensions, the other planets, the other galaxies, all you gotta do is go in. And when you go in, you have access to everything. So why is this important is because throughout the months that we do this, you're gonna see that the information that comes to you is gonna be filtered. So I might say something to you, just like they're giving me information that I have to filter. So I'm giving you the information as the way that I filter that information, because everybody has a filter. This is almost like a funnel. So this is almost like a funnel. And because it's a funnel, you're filtering information. When you filter information, you don't really get 100% because you're filtering the information. So I'm only passing to you what my level of consciousness is able to give. And then what you receive is going to be based on your level of consciousness. So when you start opening your consciousness even more, you're going to be able to go back to lessons and say, oh, that's what I meant. And why is this important? Is because when we go into a quantum healing session, you will see that the same thing happens. When you get into a quantum healing session, you filter the information. Even when you're seeing it, you're still filtering the information, because with your eyes, with your third mind, you're filtering information as well. Then months later, or even a week later, you listen to the same recording and you're gonna be, oh, that's what that meant. And this is very important. That's why they wanted to go over this, because the level of consciousness is going to really make a difference here. They want you to pay attention to your level of consciousness now, and by the time that you're done, you need to be able to see how much you have grown and appreciate, and are you really going in order for you to tap into the other dimensions. It's all about going in. You cannot go to someone and they cannot give you what you don't have. You cannot go to a psychic, medium, priestess, or even the medicine, and they will not give you what you don't have inside already, because it's already within you. So if you're able to channel, if you're able to see, if you're able to experience, if you're able to feel, if you're able to know, it's because it's already, the seed is within you. So this is very important, because as you go through your sessions, your journals, your integration, it is very important to acknowledge all the work that you're doing and how much your consciousness is expanding. It's taking in. It's been taking in all these years. And now you're going to be able to filter that information even more, so then you can get to the next step of the funnel. It's almost like a multiple funnel. Like you go through one, and then you go through another one, and you go through another one. And then when you become, it's almost like you attract, and you have to filter, because otherwise it can drive you crazy. But when you filter through your tree, your own tree, and remember that the sacred gateway to the tree is in the center. And what is in the center? Our center here is we have the 3 lower and the 4 higher. So what is the center? Is our heart. Our heart is the connection that connects everything. It connects the earth, and it connects the energies from above. So really our heart is the main gateway that we really need to work with in order for us to expand our consciousness. Is there anything else that in the session about the trees and the dryads, we're going to go even more about more specifics, but this is just something for you to remember, to consider, because go and research what is the Taurus? How does it relate to the tree of life? Within the Taurus, there is a tree of life. Within the tree of life, we have the golden ratio, we have all the shapes. We have the rectangle, we have the circle, we have the hexagon, we have the star, we have everything. So within this tree of life, we have the gateways to other dimensions. And who are we? We are our own tree. So we are our own gateway to the other dimensions. And I think I'm going to leave it there for this session. And I'll continue with the next one.